Hello, everyone. Welcome to the info session tonight. And my name is Janet. I will be hosting the info session for us. The topic for tonight's talk is how to prep your child for computation and other programming challenge. And it is hosted by XCAM and CVMS STEM program. And we have a packed agenda today. So first, we're going to have our ex-camp teacher, Yibo, to give us the introduction about USACO and how to prep USACO and other programming contests. After that, we also invite our co-founder from ex-camp, Charlie. He is going to tell us a little bit more about programming in college application and future career, and how does ex-camp help students during the programming study journey. At the very end, we're going to have a Q&A session. So dear parents, if you have any questions on any topic, please feel free to ask questions at the end of the Q&A session. So before we start our first topic, let us welcome to Ms. Lei to do a quick introduction. She is the one who reached out to us to have this info session organized for CVMS STEM parents. So please go ahead, Ms. Lei.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I have some activity in the background with the kids running around at night. So welcome, everyone. So as part of my, my kids are in seventh and 6th grade. As part of my quest to find things to do, one of the things I found is that I want my kids to do more programming stuff. But I also want to have, I've realized that with programming, if you have given the kids something to challenge them with, they tend to do better than just sitting there and do a program. So that's why it led me to XCamp, because I wanted to see something that would be allowing my kids to do some competition level work, because my kids are not necessarily interested in Science Bowl or Science Olympiad or Math Olympiad. They're interested. He is interested in programming. So I want him to give him the same opportunity that he would have for the science and math inclined kids. So this is my thought process, and that's where I found XCamp, because their curriculum and their goal fits what I'm looking for my kids. And I know that for, I don't know, CVMS STEM, at least I did not hear, CVMS, I did not hear Olympiad or the Compute Olympiad being part of the involvement yet. So, it's a program that I would like to see happen with CVMS or any Round Rock schools. So that's the goal. And hopefully that XCamp will be able to help us, because I like their focus. I like the way they teach, the way they are organizing their curriculum. So, give the kids a comprehensive understanding of what's required. Because there are free materials online everywhere. Like you can get free coding classes, anywhere you turn, basically. But what's missing is the systematic approach to what is good and what's required to actually succeed. So that's where we'll find out. I'm hoping to find out with the rest of you guys as well, to see, XCamp's offering.
Yeah, thank you for the nice introduction. That's why we have two speakers today to present. Let's welcome the first one, and he is currently the XCamp teacher. If I can find my mouse, yeah. And he's going to tell us a little bit about all the competition program opportunities for the kids. So please go ahead, Yibo.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So let me start by just giving a bit of background on what USACO is. So the main goal of USACO is to select the 4 participants from the USA to compete in the IOI, which is the International Olympiad in Informatics. So essentially that's the big high school level worldwide competition that's held every year. And USACO is how the US selects the 4 participants to go. And it's broken up into, I guess, a few divisions, and then there's also a camp. So starting with the 4 divisions, we have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And every new participant always has to start at bronze. And to promote, you have to basically get a certain score or higher in one of the individual contests, and that lets you promote to the next division. And then eventually, as you work your way up the division to platinum, then the platinum contestants, they are selected, 26 finalists are selected based on their performance on the contests that year. And then eventually at camp, out of the 26 finalists that were selected, 4 of them get selected to participate in the IOI that year. And as a very brief background or like introduction for myself, I was a US camp finalist back in 2018. Yeah, let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
So previously we talked about the basic structure of USACO, and now we can see here, this is the 2021 to 2022 schedule. So 2 of the 4 contests have already happened. So that was the December and January one. But if you sign up right now, you can still participate in the February and March one. And then as far as how the contest goes, basically you have the entire weekend and the Monday, and you can take the contest anytime during that time frame. And the contest lasts for 4 hours, except for the US Open, which lasts for 5 hours. But the US Open is also more difficult. That's why they give an extra hour to kind of compensate. As far as how to do preparation, this is a topic that obviously we can dive into for much longer, but I'm going to break it down to basically 3 main steps. So the first step is you need to know the algorithms and data structures to be able to solve the problem. So basically I would say, actually, yeah, let's go with this. So first you want to learn a language. So in general, that's either Java or C++ for USACO, and we'll go into why later. Then you need to learn the algorithms and data structures for that difficulty. So obviously in bronze, you'll be learning easier algorithms and data structures than in silver, which will then be easier than in gold, and so on and so forth. And then the final step, the third step, that's the most important part, is to have a lot of practice solving these problems, because most of the USACO's focus is on problem solving. So when you get a USACO problem, you first have to read the problem and figure out what algorithm and data structure to use, as well as how to use it. And then after that, you have to then implement it. So those are generally the steps. Okay, and then as far as what language to pick, basically there's only 4 supported languages: Python, Java, C++, and C. Python is not very ideal for USACO because it's just slightly too slow for the higher divisions. So for example, in gold or platinum, there's a decent chance there is no Python solution that exists because of the constant time factors. As far as Java and C++, you can actually pick either. So for example, so although most people will recommend C++, for example, I used Java back when I did USACO in high school, and I managed to make it all the way to camp. So Java will not like limit you in any way. And there's like some trade-offs. So in my opinion, for Java, it's slightly easier to debug because you get really nice error messages. So for example, if you access a index in your array that's out of bounds, you'll get a array out of bounds error, right? Whereas in C++, you might not get that same nice error message. But the advantages of C++ is that it runs faster, and the actual code you have to write is shorter. So technically, you can spend less time writing code than compared to Java. And yeah, as we previously mentioned, it's easier to debug in Java, but the code is longer and uses more time and memory. And then the final thing I want to talk about in terms of language selection is USACO actually compensates Java and Python a little bit. So, and the way they do this is by giving Java and Python twice the amount of time. So for example, if in a problem, you're given 2 seconds to run in C++, for Java and Python, you get 4 seconds instead. Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, next.
Sure.
Okay, so comparing USACO to some other competitions or like other CS programs. So first, let's talk about USACO versus APCS. So USACO's focus is mainly on algorithms and problem solving, whereas APCS is more focused about Java programming. So USACO kind of assumes you already know how to do programming to an extent, like you have to know how to read you need to know how to read input. You need to be able to deal with basic data structures and like manipulating variables to even get started in bronze. Whereas, for example, in APCS, you'll be like kind of taught everything starting from scratch, right? Like you get taught all the parts of Java. As far as USACO versus USAMO goes, these are pretty similar in the sense that they're competitive, right? And very much focused on problem solving. The main difference is, of course, USACO is focused on computer science topics, whereas USAMO is focused on math topics. And another thing that kind of comes out of that is for USACO, you're implementing a solution, a general solution that will be able to handle many test cases, whereas in USAMO, you'll be basically doing manual computation for one single test case, right, for that problem. And then a pretty frequent question is, does USACO help for college admission? So the general consensus is that, yes, it helps a lot. And I can say that personally, of the USACO finalists I know, roughly half of them went to MIT, roughly. But even like being in USACO like gold and platinum is also quite like prestigious.
I'm sorry, what is USAMO?
USAMO is like the math competition.
It's a math Olympiad you've been talking about.
Yeah, the math Olympiad.
Yeah, with but in terms of structure, it's similar, right? I'm assuming the computing Olympiad is similar to the math Olympiad, because I think a lot of the parents here are very familiar with the math Olympiad.
Yeah, the structure is sort of similar, except of course the like actual test itself is very different, right?
Sure,
like for USAMO, for like all the contests leading up to it, you basically only have a set amount of like you have that exact window of time to do the contest, right? Whereas for USACO, you can pick any 4-hour block in the weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah, so people are still trickling in. I'm watching them. Can you like just go back a couple of slides? Just want to. Sorry, I don't want you to move on because I wanted to ask questions to this part before we move on, because it
Which
helps me.
slide do you want to go back? This one?
Yeah. So so the bronze level, is that still high school? Or what
so
level?
All of USACO is for high school students.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if my kids start in middle school, it will be preparing for them. They can start in freshman high school?
They can still participate if they would like. So sorry, I should clarify, it's high school or younger.
So they can participate.
Yeah, they can participate. And in fact, there has been I think middle school IOI participants.
Okay. Really? So
yeah, it's very rare though, of course.
Okay. 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 So yeah, so that's one, and then we can move on to the next one. If I don't know if the audiences have questions for this.
We have Q&A at the very end, Lei, because many of the things will be covered by Charlie, like how the course corresponding with the the age and the grade of the students. Maybe some question will be answered as part of the presentation itself.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So.
I do have. Sorry. Go back to the APCS. So you're saying like Austin area high schools do the APCS? Is that true? Like AP Computer Science?
I believe it was offered at the high school I went to, and it's like, I think becoming increasingly common around the US. Okay. So in terms of like, is APCS offered or not? If that was the question.
It is in Austin as well. Okay. Next slide.
Yeah, and outside of USACO, here are a bunch of other contests, and let me describe, I guess, all of these. So the UCF High School Programming Contest, Stanford Proco, Lockheed Martin. These ones are the ones I'm more familiar with. These happen once a year, and they are all for high school level. And I believe you basically have to be a high schooler to participate. So let me start with Lockheed Martin. So this one, so CodeQuest is obviously, as stated here, organized by Lockheed Martin. And this is a team contest that you have to register with your school for. And I think they have a bunch of different sites all over the US. Yeah, and it's in teams of 3. It's quite fun. Compared to Stanford Proco, UCF High School Programming Contest, and USACO, it's slightly less focused on algorithms and more in implementation. So that's the slight difference. The other 2 that were mentioned, they're very, very similar to USACO, except I believe they're both also team contests. But as far as the actual content, they're almost identical to USACO. And then for Codeforces and @Coder, these are contest websites that run very frequent contests. So it's a very good way to practice, like simulating content, or like do a lot of practice contests in those websites.
I think that's all from Yibo on the competition itself. Next, we will welcome Charlie, who is a co-founder of XCamp. He's going to tell us a little bit about coding itself and how to practice to be ready for the competition. So go ahead, please, Charlie.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Yibo, for sharing the competitive coding. A little bit about my background. I'm still working in Google. I co-founded XCamp 4.5 years ago. Yeah, I like coding. Also now I think coding is a strong support for our kids to grow. We know competitive coding might not be suitable for all the students. So I would like to share more on the other coding opportunities. Here in the Silicon Valley, most public schools provide the introduction on coding, such as Hour of Code events. In high school, as Yibo and Danny just mentioned, APCS class is provided for, I think, for all the students in California now. But not all the students will attend that. But in the Silicon Valley, it's a very, very common AP subject. For the private school here, there are more choices. Here are the list of several private schools in the Silicon Valley. We can see block-based programming classes are provided in elementary schools, such as the Scratch. It's very popular for the students, like 3 to 5 grades. In the middle school, text-based programming classes, such as Python and Java, are provided in most of these private schools. However, all these coding classes are very, very basic level. For example, Harker is one of the top schools in the Silicon Valley. Also, both my kids, they went to Harker, but they studied 3 years coding in middle school, and what they learned is very, very fundamental coding knowledge. Next slide. Here I want to discuss why out-of-school coding classes are necessary. Similar to out-of-school math classes, out-of-school coding class will help students in several aspects. The first, coding could help students to strengthen their abilities, such as creativity, problem solving, and persistence. As Eva just mentioned, for the coding, we need a lot of practice. The first students to sit down, do the coding, solve the problem. It's a challenge. But after they did this, this will improve their capability a lot. Secondly, coding would help students on the activities in school, such as robotics, because after the students learn the coding, say Java, they can do a much better job in the robotics coding project. Also, APCS, we just mentioned, and contests. Thirdly, coding experience will help students on STEM-related college application. You just mentioned, for half of the finalists, they might go to MIT. Now, CS is a very popular major now. It's really a big challenge for the students getting the CS major without the background in coding in high school. Similar to other STEM majors, if they have the coding background, it will be a big plus for them during the college application. Finally, I want to say coding could help students to better prepare for the future career. Programming now has been a general tool across industries such as AI, finance. Even now, I'm working in Google in the agriculture, kind of the last industry to adopt technology, but there's a new trend to use AI, use technology, use coding to solve the traditional agriculture problems. Next, please. See if the students decide to learn more on coding out of school, which language to choose. Yibo mentioned some kind like for the Java and the Python and the C++. There are a little bit different, but generally speaking, Python is easy to learn, especially for students who have no background. It might be easier for them to start from Python, especially if they want to learn AI. Python might be a good foundation because it's the most popular language for the AI projects. Yeah, Java is popular in game, also app development too. It's an official language for EPCS. As you just mentioned, C++ is very fast language. It's good for contest, especially at a high level, like a Python level. Sometimes the C++ language will give you the advantage over the other two languages. Another aspect I want to mention is that for the programming, the language is only the tool. The data structure and the algorithm are more important. That's why XTEM classes are focused on data structure and algorithms. The same for most of the tech companies interview. If you know, like the Google, Facebook, the interview questions, you have the freedom to choose which language you use. It doesn't matter. The test content is focused on algorithm and data structure. Next, please. I give some introduction here more about XCamp. I just mentioned XCamp is focused on data structure and algorithm. This kind of a foundation for the coding. Also, we provided opportunities for students to learn competitive coding to prepare for the USACO contest. Like the Yibo, we have such a strong experience background in USACO. They can help students on this journey. Another thing I want to mention is, our curriculum are developed by the Xu Xianyu from China. His students have won 4 international Olympiad mathematics gold medals and 1 silver medal. Also, we are a USACO official sponsor partner. Next one, yeah. For our class, so we have a structured one from CS 100 to 600. We have 18 classes. Each class is 12 weeks. And each week we have 2 hours instruction and 2 to 4 hours office group study hours. This is suitable for from 5th to 12th grade. In addition, we have top faculty teams. Our teachers are most like senior engineers in the Bay Area, such as from Google, Facebook, and other companies. Also, we have advanced level teachers from international or national contact finalists like Yibo. In addition, we believe help each student to reach their potential is a significant factor for a student to learn. So we have personalized education system. We have bonus questions for the students to have more opportunity to learn. Also for the students who are doing very good at their current level can skip some class. Finally, we provide a learning cycle. We know the coding is not only about how much knowledge you know, but also about how much practice you did and how much coding experience for you to work on. So we, after we have 2-hour lecturing, we have office hours to help students to solve the problems. Also, we have projects for the students to work on to solve real world problems. Next page. Yeah, here is the model of our class progression. For the first year, we have 3 classes from CS 100, 101, and 102. After this 1-year study, the student also have the opportunity to have the web development class. For the second year, we have 200, 201, and 202. After the second year of study, the students will reach the USACO bronze level, also reach the APCS level. For the APCS, it's more focused on the language, but our students will have a very solid foundation to help on the APCS study. The third year, we have class CS 300, 301, and 302. Also, we have honor classes behind that because for the USACO silver, it's a big challenge to pass. So we have honor class for most part for students for the competitive USACO silver. After the 3-year study, so we have kind of more classes, mostly focused on the competitive coding. We have 400 class prepared for the USACO Gold, 500 class prepared for the USACO Platinum, and 600 class prepared for the USACO Camp and ROI. After this class, especially after the 3rd year, some students say he might not be interested in competitive coding. We are planning to provide AI classes. Also, we would like to provide research and development classes in the 500, AI in the 400. So the students can join some like a Kaggle, Synopsys, or ImageCamp or Intel contest in this research program and AI program. In summary, here, please click. We have the program for fun, for contest, also for career. After the like a 3-year study with us, the students at kind of a USACO silver level, it's almost similar to the tech company interview level. So after students reach this level, it's kind of they have a pretty secure job opportunity in the future as a software engineer. Even though they might not do this, but they have a foundation, they have base a career opportunity. So that's the reason we will provide the solid algorithm and data structure learning, and the student can have a strong foundation for STEM in their future. For us, we already have 17 students in the Platinum, 1 in a training camp, and 80 plus in the silver level. Next. I'm happy to say we have Austin camps now. For the spring, we have 1 class provided. Is the 102 Python class. Here also we have a special rate for the Austin campus class. For all our Bay Area class, from 100 to 600. So most of the 100 is from the 6th grade. Yeah, some students, they might be in 5th grade, but very strong in math and love coding. They can study and try. For the 101 Python class and the 202, mostly from 6th grade, and we need to please test. We all know the best level for the student, the suitable level, is still to inspire students. If it's too hard, it will be the student might be less interested. Also, for the higher level, so maybe the 7th grade is to start. The purpose might be more for the coding, also for the from the bronze. For the students, from Texas, we have the 20% group discount. Yeah, especially for the Austin students. Next. Yeah, I think that's the mostly we want to share. We would like to leave more time on the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Yibo and Charlie, for the presentation. We are now going to the Q&A session. And here are 3 barcodes. Like if you're interested in the registration, this is the registration form. And also prepare for this talk, we have a WhatsApp group and a WeChat group. If you have any other question after tonight's talk and you want to, have a discussion, feel free to scan the barcode and join one of those groups, and we can provide any more information through those groups. So without further ado, we will go to our Q&A session. If you have any question, feel free to unmute yourself. You can ask directly, or you can type in the chat and I will read it out for you if there's any question in the chat window. In the lay, do you want to do a summarize, like any question? Oh, I see Lay raised the hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, can you go back? So I
Sure.
think these three logos, I do have questions, so I'm gonna start asking them.
So where do you want me, which slide do you want me to go back?
Go back, just go back to the previous one. The previous one. So, okay, this one is fine.
Which one?
Okay, the one next, to this.
Before or after?
After.
Okay, so you mean the
This
whole
class progression, yes.
Okay.
Progression.
Yeah, that's a good slide. Go ahead.
Okay, so during these classes, will you be offering, because as parents, we may not necessarily know which contest is out and available. Will you be offering in your class, say, hey, like, we have this contest, if any of you guys would be interested in joining? Would you be giving that pointers to some of these kids that are taking these classes?
Yes, we provide very strong support on the contest. Our core class, from 100 to say to 302. During this class, we majorly teach the foundation on the algorithms and the data structure. So at the same time, we also have like a winter camp, summer camp, and some booster classes for the students to prepare the USACO contest. Because the USACO contest, we have like special questions, special like format. We will support students to do this. Yeah.
I don't mean like the curriculum. I mean, like, would you let us know, hey, there's a contest coming up. Do you guys want to join? That kind of thing. Because again, I don't even know where, because like Yibo was that, showing us, oh, this contest. I'm like, I've never heard of any of this. So would you be able to allow, like, just give us an email and say, hey, these are the contests. Are you guys interested in joining, or even lead a team from this class, something like that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. For each major contest, we organize this. We help students to form the teams. Yeah.
Because that's one of the issues that I would have, because I wouldn't even know. I mean, for these kids to take these classes to learn something, that's one thing, but if I leave them alone, they probably don't want to, or to start them small with something that's easy to do, and then that will probably build their confidence in terms of future contests, right? So that's one question. The other question is, if my kid is lazy and he doesn't finish all the work, does he have to repeat a class, or how does that work?
Yes, we have pretty strict rules on the homework because we know if students don't do the homework, they might not catch up. So there are several steps. The first step is student didn't do any homework in 1 week. Our TA will contact him or her to see the reasons. If they didn't do it in like 2 weeks in a row, we will contact parents to see any help may need. At the same time, we'll ask students to join our office hours to get help. After like a fall class, no homework, we believe they might not can catch up. So we will ask to kind of stay for the class, maybe for the repeated class, and we will only collect a very minimum fee, management fee, if he or she want to repeat.
And also we have the student can retake the same class with very, very small fee, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know.
And we have a couple questions here in the chat. Let me read it out, then Lei will come back to you for more questions
sure.
if you have. So here's a question from ICID. What is the cost? So for this one, I think for the cost, there's two ways to find out. One, if you click on the registration barcode, for each class, in the registration form, it has the class schedule. When will the class be and what is the fee for the class? And if you're joining the Bay Area class, there's 20% discount on top of what is in the registration form. Of course, you can reach out into our accounting group by joining the WeChat or WhatsApp group. They're happy to answer any questions around the cost. Hope that answered a question. The second question is there a Java class or only Python? So I will leave that to Charlie. We have all three different classes, but Charlie, if you want to go ahead and give more detail on what type of class language we're helping to have. I think this is a slide.
Yes, this is slides for the most of like 100 to 200 class we are teaching in Python. But I think we didn't list here. Now we have a Java class. We have a Java 1, 2, 3 from the introduction to mid-level and to the booster class number 3 Java for the APCS. Yes.
Okay, so basically for the fundamental year 1, year 2, it is mainly on Python, but starting year 3, the kids will be transitioning into C++, but we also have a few Java class to help kids who are interested in APCS.
Yeah.
So as I did, does that answer your question? If you have more questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or type more in the chat. So the next question is from, I will try Shipa. And her question or his question is, how many hours per week students need to dedicate their time at home for this program apart from the class? So maybe this is a question for Yibo, since you are a student and also now you are a teacher.
Yeah, so I can, I guess, speak about the higher divisions, and then Charlie probably has a better idea for the more foundational classes.
Yeah.
But for example, if your goal is to try to pass silver, gold, or platinum, and specifically platinum into camp, it's all very difficult and requires a lot more extra practice. Because as far as USACO goes, even if you learned all the algorithms and data structures, it's not like a test you might take at school, right? If you learn the topics, you'll generally get all the questions correct on the test. But for USACO, you have to think of creative ways to apply the algorithms and data structures you know to actually solve the problem. And on top of that, you also have to be able to implement it and debug your code. So obviously, it varies from student to student how long it will take to kind of like reach that level of proficiency. But I would say a good estimate for how long a student would need to spend in silver or gold to do the homework as well as extra practice is probably 5+ hours a week. That would be my rough estimate. But obviously that will vary a lot student to student. And then as far as trying to push from platinum into USACO finalists, that will obviously require even more significant effort from the students outside of class. So that's probably something along the lines of like probably at least 2 hours or more a day kind of thing, if they're really getting into that like top level.
Thank you, Yibo. And Charlie, how about the entry level class?
Yes, for the entry level, for example, the 100 level, after like a 2-hour class instruction, we may have about 1 hour homework. Getting higher, like the 200, 300 level, we kind of have homework from 2 to 4 hours, depends on the student's background. So we know practice is important. The workload is about average like 3 hours a week at that middle level. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And also, Shannon, thank you very much for putting the registration link in the chat. So for the parents who wants to know more, the link is in the chat session. There's no further questions so far, so we're back to Lei.
I have more, yeah.
Yeah, I know. We'll come back to you.
So I'm looking at the registration link, right? So the prices listed are the Bay Area prices, right?
I believe so. So I think recently the registration form got changed a little bit. But yeah, in general, if the price is listed as a Bay Area price, as Austin students, parents will guarantee to have 20% group discount on top of that.
Okay. So right now it's listed as $900 for the very beginning one, the Python, the CS 100P. So my question to that is, so my kids have some experience, you know, as I said before, there are multitude of free programs to teach you how to do Python. There are, you know, Carnegie Mellon has classes online that you can just get to. So he's done some of this stuff. He knows how to do this and that. He knows what a API looks like and where he needs to look for API stuff, but he doesn't really know the actual algorithms like lists and such. So where is a good place to put him? If I put him in the intro to Python class, would he yes, you know, if you ask him how many, because the question that you start with is how many years experience do you have? Yeah, you can say he has two years experience, but it doesn't really mean anything, because of those 2 years he really didn't do that much. He's maybe done like, you know, 20 hours worth of coding. It doesn't, you know, in my view, that's nothing. But like, where should I put him? But he's not absolute beginner either. You know, he's not.
Yeah, I can try to answer first, but then Charlie, please feel free to add more. And that is why exactly we have a replacement test. So if you're not sure if you are beginner, 100% beginner, we do provide assessment and evaluation and replacement test to make sure we put you into the right class that is built as part of X Camp, because like there are different level, there are different kind of skill sets already been built. But by taking this replacement designed by X Camp, we know exactly where the kids should be start from X Camp class. So Charlie, anything you want to add on top of that?
Yes. This question is very good. It's a very common question to the students who have some background on the coding. Yes, we do have placement tests to see if the students learned most like the content of our 100 and qualified for 101. Then they can go to our 101 class. But if they are not, so we also can see how far they are from. If they are very close to 101, we may give them some like practice problems, some videos they can catch up. But generally, if they are far from 101, they may start from 100. I think in general, you know, we prefer students from a lower class, and they feel very comfortable. They have very confidence to learn and very fun to learn, and again, their interest. You know, the difference is just kind of 3 months. Yeah.
Okay, your question, Nick.
So in this beginning classes, do you have any kind of, I don't know, mock contests? Because I'm trying to see if my kids would retain interest, you know. And one thing that would be helpful is to have some kind of mock contest for them to play with this entire idea of being competitive in programming looks like.
Yes, you know, for our 100 class, you know, after the class, we have called the Art of the Program contest. We ask students to be creative, to build their own kind of a drawing, also animation projects. You know, in the last class, the students need to prepare a video, prepare a presentation on a demo on their project. For the 101 class, we have a final project. They call the Go Bound project. It's like, you know, you have like a you play with a little game. You get a 5 in a row. So that's kind of another project. For some students, they can use some AI at this level too. Yeah. So for the 100, this kind of 102, we have like the level, the class, the student can continue on the Go Bound project with more kind of automatic machine to human play or machine to machine play Untitled Bomb game. After it go to 200, some of them started to try USACO grants.
Sorry, I'm looking for the controls. Something's happening with my stuff.
Yeah, and I want to add to that just a little bit. So I think in regards to like just kind of like trying out the competitive programming, there's really nothing stopping you from making a USACO account like today and just looking at some past problems. If you're ready with some basic knowledge of like reading in inputs, as well as like some basic like memory and variable manipulation to just get a taste of what USACO feels like. That you can always do at your own time whenever you feel like you're ready.
So looking at the registration form, looks like the CS 101 is full at this moment in time. So these classes will be offered from San Jose, right? Are we having Austin specific classes? Are we talking about San Jose classes?
Charlie, do you want to talk about that?
Yes. Currently, the 101 class in San Jose is full. Yeah, we don't have the class for Austin for the 101. But if we have more than students registered from Austin, we will have a standalone a new class for Austin only. If we have like a combined with some waitlist students in Silicon Valley, if we have more students join from Austin and we have 10 enough students, like 10 students for a new class, we will open a new class of 101.
I know Sid does one ask about why Python, because I knew that was going to be coming from him, but I wanted to, because I had the same question, as you remember when we talked last time. And I wanted to say that, to be honest, it doesn't really matter at this stage, I feel like, what language they learn. It is, when we as software engineers, we always say it doesn't really matter what language you know. It's how you program, it's how you think, right? So that's what I think. It's not such a big issue. And Janet, you were saying something about your son knowing Python and was able to get you tell the story. So I think that needs to be stressed.
Yeah, like for many students, few students in high school, they were able to get some summer internship or some, and the Python is very popular because for the kids age in high school, there are more opportunity for them to help the data scientist to do some data, analyst to clean the data. So knowing Python is very helpful. And of course, like, if you know the data structure and algorithm, like it's easier for the kids to pick up more than one language. If they're mastered in Python, it's no problem for them to pick up Java and C++ on their own. So they are smarter than we thought they are.
Yeah, so I think that's important to stress as well. So for example, for my job, my work, if we were hiring intern, there would be probably more opportunities for Python than actually somebody to mess with our actual code base of C++. We're not letting just, interns to come and change internal, our internal code base. It's just not going to happen. But if you do know Python, we do have internships for even writing test structures and test infrastructure and such. So
Yeah.
At the lower level, this is better.
Yeah, looks like you're doing a great job. You convinced Sid. Sid said it is more because I don't know Python, hence the prefer towards Java. Otherwise, I know how popular Python is now.
Yeah. It's very popular, and while we all are software developers, we all have our favorite language. For me, C++. That does not mean that it's the right thing for the kids to learn at the very beginning, and it's actually, for C++ is tough. So
yeah,
so
and also,
I wanted to throw it out.
Yeah, Yibo said it very well at the beginning, right? What's the difference between those languages, and also for Python, it's a perfect language for beginner, for the kids to learn to have fun. But Java and C+ is more like down the road if you really want to go computation, and there's pros and cons for both. But if you really want to be serious about computation, I think you will pick either C++ or Java, and XCamp wants to do C++ because it's faster and, for whatever reason, maybe
Yeah,
Charlie, you can highlight a little bit more.
Yes, I think all the good point you have been touched, especially the job opportunities. Also the AI, I think is another area. Some students want to do AI projects, and Python is the most popular language.
So yes, to answer your question, Sid, sorry, I know you're leaving. Java, you'll be fine with Python. It's really not that difficult.
Oh no, yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I had one more
We
question.
have 6 more minutes. Anyone have more questions, feel free to ask.
Sorry, I have one more question. Do you ever have any crypto content? Because crypto or security, those are big words that are very hot. Just curious down the road if you guys have some of that.
We don't have them yet, but I think for the long run, we will have this kind of programming coding related classes. This kind of for the students after they have several years learning with us, they have more opportunities to move to another level, especially the application. I think they are very, very important for their career development and their future.
So, I attended. I think you guys are working with the Chinese school here to offer like CS 101, right? Or 100 levels in the Chinese school here, right? Janet?
No, they're independent with Chinese school. They're different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember attending one of their info sessions, and they were saying that it's actually really helpful to have some USACO competition experience for, because UT Austin as computer science is getting very, very competitive to get in.
Yep.
So your son is in high school, right?
Yeah, it's the first year. Yeah.
Has he started only first year high school? So it's still pretty early.
First year. Actually, he just took, like Yibo said, there's 4 contests, right? And he took the one in December. He did not pass Brown, and he took the one yesterday. 2 days ago on Sunday for the second contest. He might have a chance to pass. But like I said, he is taking 200, which class? I think 202 right now. So he felt like this is very helpful for him to pass the exam, because he does not have to prep for the exam. It's just all the class is helping him on the road. It's not like he does not have to worry about prep for the contest, because as long as he follow the homework, he knows sooner or later he can reach the goal.
Do you talk with anyone? Do you know anything about UT Austin's acceptance for, do they look at this they're on a local level?
Yeah, this
I can add to this one because I have a lot of friends who kids in the UT CS. So one of the friend kids actually he played basketball with us. He's Lawrence. So he passed the USACO good. I think there's some benefit he talked to me is number one, it definitely help him get into UTCS. Number two is it help him get into UTCS owner. UTCS owner is like a small classroom, and there's only certain the class only designed for the owner, CS owner, and in the UT you have to maintain a status to stay in the UT CS owner. If you don't do well, you may kick out a CS owner in second year, right? So he said that because he had USACO code, and it's just his capability, program capability that can help him stay inside the CS owner program. So that's what he said. It's not only getting into CS, but also stay inside the CS owner. That's what the USACO could help him.
That's interesting. I have an older child who was he's in finance, but she was in UT Dallas, and they have an honors program as well. And yes, they have small classes, and yeah, they just basically take classes away from everybody else, and then she had a much better experience than your regular classes.
We have one more question in the chat. I think that will be our final question since we have 1 more minute. It's from Sid again. He's asking, do we know what could be day or time for the classes for scheduling purpose? As far as I know, our classes is a weekend class. Depending on which class your child is taking, it could be sometime on Saturday or Sunday through the day. So if you look at the registration form, all the class that is still open will have the schedule and the time as part of the registration form.
So thank you, Janet. And the classes are all recorded, right? So just in case the kid can, okay, they can follow.
All the classes are recorded, and you can take the recording session if you miss any class.
Thank you.
And also, if you are missing one class, you want to go into the bio class, you can do another class session because for same class, there are multiple sessions. You can go
That's a very, very good point. For the entry level class, like 100, for example, there's always multiple classes because we have more students. So if, of course, it's an exceptional basis, but if you missed one class, for example, this week on Saturday, there might be another same class on Sunday. If you do not want to listen to the recording session, feel free to take that class, the same class on a different day if you have a conflict.
So so then the follow-up question on registration, if I were to register, so once I register, I can get him to take the placement test, right?
No, it's before the registration, like
Okay.
you know which class to register. If
Okay.
you're returning students, if you take this one, you go to the next one, you can just do registration and pay for the payment. But if you're not sure, you will have to do a replacement test first. Then only then you know which class you need to register.
We can just email you to get him a time slot for placement test then.
It's online, like once if you go to the registration form, there's one part that do you need replacement test. If you do, then you will fill another form for evaluation. Then based on the answer for the evaluation form, there's a teacher who's in charge of replacement test. She will reach out to you and send up the replacement test link for you, because based on your kid's level, the replacement test itself might be different.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but it's part of the registration. If you read it, it will tell you exactly the step-by-step how to do a replacement test request.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we're 2 minutes over. I know this is the first day of Chinese New Year. Really appreciate everybody spend time with us tonight. And hopefully this is informative and this provides the information you're looking for. And if anyone have any ways to get hold of us, by either go join the WhatsApp group or WeChat group. And if you need any more information, feel free to go through Lei or reach out to one of us. We will record a session and the link will be shared back to Lei so she can share it back with you. And if there's no further question, I would like to thank all the guest speakers who comes here today from XCamp, and also thank Lei for connecting us together with the parents group. Thank you and have a good night.
Yeah, happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you all. Happy New Year.
Bye.